While the Chicago Bulls find themselves in a lighter part of their schedule, we know with this Chicago Bulls team, you can take nothing for granted. But the Bulls are in a situation where they have a clear and present reset of their season potentially with injuries and players coming back from injury as well. We'll talk a little bit about that, plus Ayo's breakout season and why Ayo is destined to get paid this offseason. We'll talk about all that. And can the Bulls finally start to handle business starting tonight against the Hornets? We're going to get to all that and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get to this content for today, y'all. And so the Bulls have a perfect chance for a reset, and the reset starts now, potentially, for the Chicago Bulls team. And this is really the last opportunity that they have for anything that I will personally call a reset on the season. The Bulls' next 5 opponents are 22-68. Now, this was supposed to start an easier stretch, which the Bulls were in even in the last 2 games, but both those games came down to the wire, and the Bulls ended up losing one of those games, right? But not only is it because of the opponent's record, you got Zach Collins, who's now off the injury report for the first time. I still don't think he's going to make his return to the court until next week, but it's good to see that he is now off the injury report. He's cleared of those type of things, and now it's about practicing, getting back up to strength, and getting back out there on the basketball court for Zach Collins, and that seems like it's going to be coming sooner rather than later. And when you look at the Bulls' next 5 opponents, the Hornets, the Indiana Pacers twice, the Orlando Magic, and the Brooklyn Nets, only one of those opponents have a record above 500, and that is the Orlando Magic. This is a really good opportunity for the Bulls to show that they can take care of business and hopefully restore some of that faith from the fandom, because it's at an all-time low with the Bulls' last few performances, and rightfully so. I mean, listen, I love defending my team, but I'm also not unrealistic. The Bulls have sucked. I mean, let's just be clear here. The Bulls have not at all kept up with what they looked like they were going to do at the start of the season. Over the last 10 games, the Chicago Bulls are 3-7. They have a net rating of -8, an offensive rating that's 19th in the league, and a defensive rating that's 25th. They got to tighten all those things up. Now, the things that have worked in the Bulls, favor when it comes down to it is that their true shooting percentage is still top half of the league. Their effective field goal shooting percentage is top half of the league. Their assist percentage is still top half of the league. And they've turned themselves into one of the best blocking teams in the NBA as well at a 6.6 block percentage, which has them in the top 10 of the NBA. A lot of that is due to Modest Buzelis and his recent blocking. So the Bulls have those things. The pace is still going for them, things like that. But this is stuff that you got to tighten up. That defensive rating specifically, you got to tighten that up. The offensive rating, if the defensive rating is going to be that low, has to be at least in the top 12 in the NBA. You have to tighten those things up. And the Bulls have to get back to running that efficient offense. How do they do that? Getting their ass in the goddamn paint. Stop settling for those bad 3-pointers, right? So this is a point where the Bulls have had a 4-day break. Several Bulls are returning from injury when it comes down to that one. The Bulls were in their last game against the Pelicans were without Zach Collins, no Kevin Huerter, no Isaac Okoro, no Nikola Vucevic, no Dalen Terry, right? And missing both those 2 bigs put us in a situation where we were relying on P. Will to be the starting center, even though Jalen Smith was still on the roster and probably should have been the starter, right? But you're getting those guys back now. Zach Collins is the only player that's ruled out for the matchup against the Hornets. So you're going to have the closest thing that you've had to a full healthy rotation in years. And so that's really good to see about that, right? And so even Billy Donovan signaling that Zach Collins' return could be around Thanksgiving. We know that he's not playing today, but that puts him in the spot to maybe play tomorrow, maybe not play till next week, which I think is what they're kind of more focused on, is just having him start clean on a week, right? But Isaac Okoro's listed as doubtful, so we'll see there. But everybody else are all questionable and looking like they're going to make their return, bearing any setbacks for this team, which is really good. So this is a spot where now you're getting back healthy. You actually have the opportunity to view what your full healthy rotation is going to look like, and that's it. Like, now that once you're back healthy, all the excuses for the Bulls are gone. Missing players was an excuse, a valid one, by reason, excuse, whatever you want to throw on it, right? Missing players was valid. Yeah, I know people are like, well, it has to be next man up. Eventually, you just run out of too many next men up, and you're too far deep into the bench, right? So having your full healthy roster, that eliminates a question there, right? Kobe White's in his beginning of the season and not having that balance there, that's eliminated now. So now you get to see what this team looks like. You get to see this depth, which this team was built around. Billy Donovan, AK, talked about it. Depth was an important factor into what this team wanted to be this season. Now you have an opportunity to really look at that. When you look at the Bulls over the last 10 games, like I said, that 25th defensive rating, 28th in turnovers force, 30th in points allowed in the paint per game. Bulls got to have an opportunity to tighten all those things up now with having your full healthy roster. One of the things that's also concerning for me, over the last 10 games, the Bulls have been 14th in free throw rate, which is really good, right? But we're 22nd on the season. So let's get back to getting our asses in the paint. The refs aren't going to give us any favors if we're not getting our ass in the paint. So that's one thing that we have to do. So let's see what this Bulls team now can look like, close to fully healthy. By next week, we should be talking about the Bulls, knock on wood, barring anything crazy happening, a fully healthy Bulls squad for the first time since the season started. So let's see what that then looks like for this team. But like I said, this is the last time that I'm going to call anything an opportunity for a reset for the Bulls, because at the end of the day, eventually you are who you are. And, me being a more optimistic person in general when it comes to the Bulls, I keep wanting to, let's wait to let's wait to that. But eventually you just got to deal with the reality of what's happening. This team is a team that right now has no momentum, no energy about itself, like no execution that it does. So let's hope that starts changing for this team and we start getting some of that shit together, because if we do, and if we can, that's where things start looking a lot better for this team. So this is an opportunity to reset. It's an opportunity to get players back healthy. It's an opportunity to stack some wins against inferior opponents that are supposed to be inferior, right? And that all leads back up into when the season gets real again for the Chicago Bulls. And then at that point, the Bulls ain't got no damn excuses. So use this stretch that you're in right now to get fully healthy, to get back on the same page, to rediscover some of that edge that you had at the start of the season. Because I tell you what, after this recent stretch of games, after that game against the second game against Indiana, which is on my birthday, December 5th, after that game, you got Golden State, 2 games against the Cavs, 2 games against Atlanta. You got Philly, which was a tough matchup for you, Milwaukee, Minnesota, New Orleans, who just kicked your ass. You got to get ready for this. That brings you to the end of December. So that brings you into the new year, into the calendar flips. This is the opportunity for the Bulls to show who they really are. And a lot of people are going to say the Bulls already have shown us who they really are. And I can't even argue against it. I can't argue against it until they prove it on the basketball court. So I hope that, for one, the Bulls are proving that on the basketball court, and then we see a much better team, a much better performance from this team as well. So let's hope that comes around. But with that said, I want to flip that, and I want to talk about Dosunmu, right? Ayo has been a player that on the season so far has been absolutely tremendous for the Chicago Bulls. And one of the things, when the Bulls signed Ayo to that team-friendly contract where he's making, I think, $7.5 million, this season in the final year of that contract, it was always a steal for the Bulls. Like, even at mid, it was a steal. Now, for a second-round pick who, the Bulls didn't give him the longer deal, so, that's why he went to restricted free agency sooner. It was a benefit for Ayo too, but now Ayo is showing himself to be such an important player for the Bulls. For example, the Bulls are plus 7.3 when he's on the court. He has an estimated wins added of 18. The Bulls are 10 points per 100 possessions better when Dosunmu is on the court this year. Our turnover percentage gets lower. Everything gets better. Dosunmu would absolutely start for some teams in the NBA. Unquestioned, undoubtedly, he would start for some teams on the NBA. Other teams in the NBA, and he's coming off the bench for the Bulls, which is a great luxury, and it's something that Ayo hasn't seemingly at all raised any concerns or being upset at all about, because he still has the role where he is getting starter level minutes, basically, right? Then when you look at a rare start for him, he had 28 points and led the Chicago Bulls in scoring. Ayo was averaging career highs in points per game, and just 26 minutes per game as well. That's the second fewest minutes of his career, but he's yet averaging the most points per game in his career. He's scoring incredibly well efficiently, which Ayo's always been a very efficient scorer. 56% from the field, 48% from 3 so far. And when it comes down to it, other teams around the league are looking at Ayo and they're like, hey, man, this is an easily tradable contract. I would not be surprised if the Bulls get some crazy offers for Ayo. But Ayo's on an absolute bargain of a contract. And he's absolutely, if the Bulls win at a better rate, he's absolutely somebody who is probably going to be in 6-man of the year consideration, right? And so we'll see what happens when it comes down to that one. Dosunmu healthy. Dosunmu locked in. He talked about it in the offseason as well. And I love when players back up what they say in the offseason, how, he had no restrictions. He basically had what was a fully healthy offseason for the most part, right? He is one of the few two-way players on this team as well, right? And so when you look at the Bulls and what's part of the strong start that they did get out to, Dosunmu was a big reason for that, right? And so I think that Io's also put himself in a situation, and the Bulls have also put him in a situation where he has an invaluable skill set for the Bulls in the sense that he's one of the few truly two-way players that we have on this roster. And for a team that lacks defensive efficiency and defensive edge, you can't ignore that part of it for Io, right? So Io is slated to get paid this offseason. And where some people at initially, he's still going to be cheaper to keep than Kobe White, but you're talking about Io probably looking at about, I used to say 16 to 18, maybe it's more like 18 to 20. Even if you want to give a full range, anything between $16.5 and $20 million, it's probably what Io is looking at this offseason for the Chicago Bulls, especially if other teams start bidding. The best place that the Bulls have for this is to take advantage of the exclusive negotiating period where Io is technically a free agent, but it's an exclusive period where you can only negotiate with your own free agents at that point in time. And the Bulls better hope that they can get a deal done with Io in that point if they plan on keeping him, because if other teams come calling and you have to then match what other teams could be willing to offer for Io, I would not be surprised if Io gets offered at minimum the full mid-level exception by most teams, and that's if they're looking to try to get a steal for Dosunmu. The Bulls are going to have to pay for that. He's 25 years old, right? He's going to receive a big contract and probably be a big part of this Bulls' future. Dosunmu is having a career year. There was somebody in the comments the other day that was like, oh, Io wouldn't even play on other teams. And I'm just like, you are the most basketball illiterate person. If you look at Dosunmu, you really think Dosunmu wouldn't even play on other teams in the NBA. He would probably start for a nice chunk of teams in the NBA, right? So it comes down to, if Io keeps us up for a full season. And the efficiency, I'm not necessarily expecting that efficiency to stay the same for the entire season. That's a difficult mark of efficiency to hit when you're talking about 48% from three-point range, above 50% from the field. Now, Io's basically always been right around 50% from the field, so I'm not surprised. He's 56% from the field right now, 47.5% from three. But he has had seasons as well where he shot 40% from three for the entirety of the year. So we'll see what Io ends up doing here. But Io's role is one that the Bulls just don't have people that can easily replace it. And, you hear Bulls fans are like, oh, we'll trade while the value's high. I think people got to remember, too, this is a team that is still trying to win basketball games, right? Like, I know that this recent losing streak, the 3-7 over the last 10, doesn't feel like that, but this still is a team that has their focus and their goals of winning this season and hopefully still trying to avoid that play-in tournament this year. And so because of that, I don't see them just giving away a player like Io. Now, I do think if they trade Io or they trade Kobe, it would signify maybe not as much trust. And if that losing continues between here and January, maybe that is something that the Bulls eventually have to kind of reconfigure and review how they want to do this season. But as it stands right now, I think that Io is going to still be a Chicago Bull long term. It's just getting more and more expensive, which then means even more why it's important that you hit on your first round picks, right? Like, we got to talk about Noah. We talked about Noah yesterday and how Noah does seem like he's above the level of competition in the G League, right? But, we got to wait till Billy Donovan and the Bulls or whoever's involved all in that conversation recognize that and start playing him. But Io is a player that right now, the impact that he's having for this Bulls team is great. We just got to start stacking more wins because I would love my boy Io Dosunmu to be in the conversation for Sixth Man of the Year, but the Bulls have to be at least above a 44-ish win team to get him there. And we'll see what the Bulls can do in regards to those wins. But let me know what you guys think down below on the season that Io Dosunmu is having for the Chicago Bulls and how you view that, how that has changed maybe your view on what he can get in free agency this upcoming offseason. Let me know that down below. With that said, there is a game tonight, so we got to preview that game. The Bulls take on the Hornets today, and this is an important game. The Hornets may only have 4 wins on the season, right? But this is a team that the Bulls can't take lightly. And part of the reason why is that this is the type of team that offensively has the type of weapons that gives the Bulls fit. You have LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges both averaging over 20 points per game. You have Con Knipple as well, averaging 18.6 points per game. Brandon Miller averaging 7 points per game, which I don't think he's playing in this game. No, he looks like he's not on the injury report. So Brandon Miller may be in this game as well. The Colin Sexton, Trey Mann, right? This is a team that has the offensive type of play that the Bulls struggle with. Then you look at the big man rotation. You have Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's turned himself into one of the best shot blocking bigs in the game of basketball as a rookie, a second-round rookie who's starting for that Charlotte Hornets team, right? Much less the other players that they have there as well that are starting to look like starting to put some things together also. So this is a team where I don't care about the record, and that's not what we should talk about anymore with this Bulls team because we know how they are and how the Bulls have fared with things like that. But this is a team in the Charlotte Hornets that are 5th in three-point attempt rate, which is something that causes the Bulls fits. They're the ninth best offensive rebounding team in the league, which we know that that's caused the Bulls fits. They're the 13th best rebounding team overall in the league. So the Bulls have to be prepared and ready for this one. Now, where are some of the things that the Bulls can take advantage of them at? The Hornets are a terrible defense. They're 28th rated in defense. Not to say that the Bulls are that much better, but this is a team that the Bulls' pace, if they attack the rim and don't settle for bad three-point shots, can put a lot of pressure on this Hornets defense, and that is where the Bulls can try to make their move at against this team, and hopefully they can do so. All those players that I mentioned as far as the scorers for this Hornets team are great, but like LaMelo Ball isn't the best defender. He can step up defensively for sure, but he's inconsistent in that. Same thing with Miles Bridges as well. Knipple, he's a rookie, right? So you can take advantage of this team defensively, but you have to play sound offensively, and the Bulls have to get back to that team that spread the ball around, that attack the rim, stop settling for these bad early in the shot clock three-pointers if you don't want to get your ass kicked. So that's something that this team has to, and it all comes down as well to point of attack defense. If you can disrupt LaMelo Ball, you can disrupt a lot of their passing, right? They already aren't the best assist team in the league, so that's some place that the Bulls can take advantage of. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the backcourt of Josh Giddey and Kobe White, who I would expect are starting this game, handle that matchup of the Hornets backcourt. And they're not the best defensive players, but we've seen them both have moments on ball defense where they've actually been pretty solid at. So that's where the Bulls are going to have to take advantage of this game. They're going to have to cook in that. Rebound the ball well, close out on shooters, get back to playing that hybrid zone defense. That's what you want to do defensively against this Hornets team. On the offense side of the ball, attack the paint, don't settle for bad threes, and we're gonna need Modest Buzelis to wake up some. I'm not putting this game on Modest, but like a Modest Buzelis that is back to being, can block shots, attacks, moves without the ball, puts a lot of pressure on this Hornets defense that already isn't the best at dealing with pressure. And that's where the Bulls can take advantage in this game. Let's hope that they can, because if they can get a win here, start stacking some wins, get themselves back in the win column more than often, we'll see what they can do because the games get more difficult. Let's use this to catch some rhythm, and let's hope that the Bulls can do that. With that said, I got 2 voicemails that I want to get into today. This one's from Big Rob.
Hey, it's Big Rob from the West Side. Many blessings to you, and I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. I was calling because I had 2 questions for you, so I'll be brief. I was watching this video channel called B-Ball Explained, and they talked about Josh Giddey, and they're saying it's really Josh Giddey's time to lose the most improved player of the year by injury. They think that he's pretty much a clear-cut favorite outside of Ahmed Thompson and the center for Detroit. But I wanted to know from you personally, is it really his to lose, or do you see someone else as a legitimate contender for that? Because I just feel like he's been getting triple-doubles with ease, and it's looking very promising, but weird things happen. And then the second question to you is, since we're entering the quarter of the season, which player has impressed you the most so far on the Bulls, and which player has been disappointing, at least so far? Because the most surprising to me has been Kevin Huerter, not because of his scoring, but he's playing like above average defense, and he's really showing me a lot, which I'm pretty impressed with. And I just wanted your opinion on who is your, so far, top tier player that, you know what, I'm surprised that they're doing much better than I thought. Let me know what you think. And always, happy holidays to you. God bless. Peace.
Is the most improved player of the year Giddey's to lose? I'm going to say no, only because of what Jalen Duren's doing as a two-way player, and his team right now is winning more than the Bulls. Like I would love to say that Josh Giddey is running away with it, because I think averaging near a triple-double is special, right? But winning does weigh a part into these, and it goes into the national conversation. Narrative does play a part. And with the Detroit Pistons being the best team in the Eastern Conference, if they maintain that, the Bulls are going to have to win at a higher rate for him to get it. I think it's going to be a closer battle than it just being Josh Giddey's to lose, but Josh Giddey's definitely going to be in that conversation, and rightfully so with his performance. Now, who has impressed me the most? Who has disappointed me? Who's impressed me the most? I'd say Io, because Io, for him to be a player that doesn't get a lot of shots, it's the efficiency from Io Dosunmu. Like, he only takes 10 shots per game. Like, we're talking about a player that averages almost 17 points per game off 10 shots per game. The efficiency and the way that he dictates and changes pace of game, I love seeing this from Io Dosunmu. Trey Jones was that at the beginning of the year, but he's kind of tapered off a little bit. But I definitely think it's been Io Dosunmu. Who has disappointed me? I think Isaac Okoro, mainly because Isaac's role is so straightforward. You just have to be defensive, a monster for the Bulls, and he hasn't been even consistent in that. Now, I do think some of that is coaching, not putting him, like, he can't guard 7-footers. That's just not where his strength lies. He's not Lonzo in that sense, but I've been really disappointed in the play of Isaac Okoro. Nikola Vucevic is right there too, but Vuce, as a veteran, I think if you told me which one of these players was going to take a dip, Okoro or Vuce, I would have said Vuce because of the age, right? Like, you know, and even then, like, but Isaac Okoro has really been disappointing for me as a Chicago Bull so far. I can't say Dalen and Julian because they just don't play that much. So I didn't have high expectations for them coming in. So those would be my answers. But great question, Rob. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Tone.
Hey, it's me, Tone, from Perth Amboy, New Jersey. I have a question for you, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with our team, the Bulls. You know, I just gotta ask you a question, man. Are the players losing faith on Billy Donovan, man? Because I don't understand how are we struggling below 500 teams, man. Like, what happened to the team that came out in the beginning of the season with all that energy, physicality, driving to the rim? I mean, doing everything right in the first, let's say, 10 games. You know, they were like playing like a team. And now, ever since the 5 losing games, they're not playing like a team, man. Like, they're playing with, like, no energy, no defense, you know, no offense at all. Crazy starting lineups. Patrick Williams at center. Come on, man, when we got Jalen Smith. Serious. Like, I don't know, man. Like, my real question to you is, man, what happened to the Bulls that came out at the beginning of the season? And are the players losing faith in Billy Donovan, man? Because I don't know. I'm starting to see like this guy can't coach for shit. You can't coach for shit, man. Like I said, man, you should be the coach of the Chicago Bulls. Head coach Haize. You know what I'm saying? Because I think you know more than Billy Donovan. But that's my question to you, man. Really, it's 2 questions. But, you know, are we losing faith? And, man, what happened to the Bulls that came out in the beginning of the season? What happened to that team right there? That's the team I started loving to see it. Now I don't even like seeing the previews because of the way they're playing. Like, let me know, man. Let me know what you think about this question, man. And have a good day, and see red, man. See fucking red, Bulls. See fucking red, man. Bye. Have a good day.
Bulls have definitely lost the edge that they had in the first 8 games or so. The losing streak completely changed. You know, their heart, really, it seems like it took away that fight, that edge we saw from this team. They're going to have to really see them get back to that. Now, to me, it doesn't seem like the players have lost faith in Billy when you hear how they talk about him. But then when you see things on the basketball court, I can't knock anybody who wants to ask that question if Billy Donovan's lost the faith of these players as well. So, you know, I hope that that's not the case, because that is the sign of a team that really is not going to regain anything this season if the players have lost faith in the coach. So I hope for the sake of this season they haven't, but we shall see. I know there are a lot of Bulls fans that if they have lost faith, it could be a reason why Billy Donovan could get fired, which is the thing a lot of Bulls fans want to see. So, you know, we'll see. But I hope for the sake of winning that they have not yet. So that's my answer there. But thank you guys for leaving those voicemails, man. But that is it. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me as always, man. Make sure you guys hit the comments. I want to hear from you guys on this one. Will this easier schedule actually help the Chicago Bulls have a real reset with the players they're getting back from injury? Is Io worth the $16.5 to $20 million he's probably going to get this offseason? And can the Bulls take care of business against Charlotte tonight? Drop your thoughts down below. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. You can follow us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, stay safe out there, go Bulls, and always see red. I'll see you guys tonight. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breakout Media.